Hello, my beautiful souls, and a special radiant welcome to all the majestic Leos tuning in. Welcome back to Cosmic Wisdom, the sacred space where we journey beyond the surface of the stars to discover the profound truths hidden within our very own beings. I am your guide, and today we are venturing into the heart of the sun itself, into the center of the celestial kingdom. Now, before we begin, I want you to do me a favor. Close your eyes for just a moment and picture a Leo. What do you see? I imagine a radiant smile, a contagious laugh, a spirit so generous and warm it could light up the darkest room. We see the noble king, the queen of hearts, the performer who holds us all captivated in the palm of their hand. But have you ever wondered what happens when the applause stops? What lurks in the shadows when the sun sets on their inner kingdom? Who do you think is the most destructive sign in the zodiac? Perhaps your mind leaps to the stinging tail of a Scorpio or the cold ambition of a Capricorn. But what if I told you that the most devastating force can sometimes come from the most radiant source? What if the brightest light casts the darkest shadow? Yes, my friends, today we are exploring the 9 reasons why the shadow of a Leo, when left unchecked, can be one of the most powerfully destructive forces in the zodiac. This isn't about fear-mongering or judgment. Oh no, this is a journey of profound understanding, of compassion, and of empowerment. It's for the Leos who feel a secret turmoil beneath their brave face, and for those who have been scorched by a lion's fire and are seeking to understand why. And listen closely, because woven into this journey is one reason of truly fundamental importance. It is the very heart of this entire exploration, the keystone that holds the arch of the Leo shadow together. If you miss it, you may miss the one piece of the puzzle that finally makes everything click into place. A truth you may have sensed but never had the words for. So please, journey with me to the very end. This isn't just about listening. It's about courageously looking into the mirror of the soul. And if this is your first time gracing our community with your beautiful energy, I invite you right now to become a part of our family. Press that subscribe button and join us at Cosmic Wisdom. Here we don't just talk about astrology. We unlock the deepest parts of you, validating the feelings you thought no one else in the universe could possibly understand. Let's begin this incredible exploration together, shall we? Because if you still believe that a Leo is only made of sunshine and endless generosity, then perhaps you've never seen what happens when their radiant heart begins to feel the cold chill of a wound. And that brings us to the very first and most foundational reason. There are few things in this universe as magnificent or as breathtaking as the pride of a healthy, aligned Leo. It is not arrogance. It is a profound, unshakable sense of self-worth that radiates outward. It's the energy that allows them to lead, to create, to protect, and to inspire. It is the very fire of the sun, a life-giving force that warms everyone lucky enough to be in their orbit. It's the courage that says, I am worthy, and because I am, you are too. But my beautiful souls, what happens when that sacred fire is poked? What happens when that pride is wounded by betrayal, by criticism, or by the one thing a Leo fears most, being ignored? That beautiful life-giving flame can transform in an instant. It erupts. It becomes a consuming, uncontrollable wildfire of wounded ego. The danger of a Leo isn't in their sadness. It's in their rage born from humiliation. This isn't the quiet, simmering anger of a water sign. Oh no. This is a theatrical, roaring, all-consuming inferno designed to do one thing: re-establish dominance and burn away the source of the pain. I once witnessed a Leo, a dear friend, who was the kindest, most generous soul you could imagine, be publicly criticized by a colleague. The shift was terrifying. The warmth in his eyes vanished, replaced by a cold, hard fire. He didn't just get angry, he went on a campaign. He used his immense charisma, his network, his power to not just refute the criticism, but to utterly dismantle the person who dared to challenge him. He burned the ground they stood on, and he did it with a chilling sense of righteous fury. A wounded Leo's pride doesn't seek understanding, it seeks victory. It doesn't want an apology, it wants a surrender. They can become vindictive, using their powerful words and social influence to scorch the reputation of anyone who made them feel small. They will make you an example, a warning to all others who might dare to cross them. The destruction isn't just emotional, it can be real, tangible, and devastatingly public. Have you ever felt the heat of a wounded Leo's pride? Have you been the one to accidentally challenge their authority and faced that sudden blazing fire? Or perhaps, dear Leo, you recognize that impulse within yourself, that instinct to not just defend, but to obliterate when you feel your honor has been slighted. Share your story with courage and honesty in the comments below. Let's create a space of understanding, not judgment, because that pride, that beautiful fire, is fueled by something even more fundamental, a need so deep it can become an all-consuming hunger. For a Leo, life is a grand stage, and they are the star performer. This is a beautiful thing. Their desire to shine, to entertain, and to be adored is what fuels their creativity, their warmth, and their incredible charisma. They thrive on applause, on recognition, on the loving gaze of their audience. This admiration is like sunlight to a flower. It is their energetic nourishment. The danger emerges when this need for adoration twists from a joyful desire into a desperate, non-negotiable demand. When a Leo's self-worth becomes entirely dependent on the validation of others, their entire world shrinks to the size of that stage, and everyone in their life is reduced to a role, either an adoring fan or a worthless critic. When the applause is plentiful, they are the most generous, loving souls on earth. But when it fades, a chilling desperation can set in. They may begin to perform acts of love and generosity, not from the heart, but as a transaction designed to earn back the spotlight. Their compliments can feel like calculated moves, their gifts like emotional bribes. More dangerously, they can become masters of emotional manipulation to keep their audience captive. They might subtly create drama, casting themselves as the hero or the victim just to refocus all the energy and attention back onto themselves. They might threaten to withdraw their warmth and light a terrifying prospect for those who have come to depend on it if they don't receive the constant stream of validation they crave. This is the Leo who becomes a black hole of need. You can pour all of your love, all of your praise, all of your energy into them, and it's never enough. The moment you need something for yourself, the moment you have your own crisis, and the spotlight shifts away, they can become cold, resentful, and even cruel. You were their loyal subject, and you have failed in your one duty to adore them. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone where you felt like you were a permanent member of their audience, where your own needs were always secondary to their need for the spotlight? Or, dear Leo, have you ever felt that gnawing fear when the attention shifts and that deep primal urge to do whatever it takes to get it back? This is a profound and vulnerable truth. Acknowledging it is the first step toward true, unshakable self-worth that doesn't need an audience to survive. But this performance requires a cast, and a Leo's ability to gather their followers is another double-edged sword. No one can charm like a Leo. It's a cosmic gift. Their confidence, their humor, their storytelling ability, and their genuine warmth create a gravitational pull that is almost impossible to resist. They draw people in, making them feel seen, special, and part of something exciting and grand. This is the energy of a natural-born leader, the kind of person you would follow into battle with a song in your heart. The danger here is so subtle, you often don't see it until you're completely swept away. When a Leo is not fully aligned with their higher self, this magnetic charisma can be used not to inspire, but to control. They can create a powerful us versus them dynamic with themselves at the absolute center. Their opinions become facts, their desires become commands, and their vision becomes the only one that matters. They don't control through overt force or threats. They control with the power of their personality. They make you want to follow them. They make you believe that your life is better, brighter, and more meaningful simply by being in their presence. Doubting them starts to feel like a betrayal, not just of them, but of the beautiful world they've built around you. They can isolate you from outside opinions, subtly discrediting anyone who doesn't get them or who questions their authority. I once knew a Leo who ran a small creative company. He was brilliant and everyone adored him. But over time, I noticed a pattern. Anyone who disagreed with his vision, even on small points, was slowly and charmingly pushed out. He'd say things like, "They just don't have the passion for what we're building here," or "Their energy isn't aligned with our mission." He never fired them in a rage. He made them feel like they no longer belonged. He created a cult of personality where absolute loyalty was the price of admission. The people who remained were devoted, but they had also given up a piece of their own sovereignty. This is the shadow of the charismatic leader, the king who slowly becomes a tyrant, not with an iron fist, but with a golden tongue. Have you ever been so captivated by someone's charm that you found yourself agreeing to things that went against your own judgment? This is the spell of a shadow Leo. Breaking it requires recognizing that true leadership empowers others. It doesn't diminish them. But when that charm fails and their authority is directly challenged, the spell breaks and you will hear their roar. Every zodiac sign gets angry, my friends, but few can unleash fury with the sheer theatrical and overwhelming power of a Leo. When a Leo is truly enraged, when their pride, their authority, and their kingdom have been fundamentally threatened, they don't just express anger, they unleash it. This is the lion's roar. It is not a discussion. It is not a debate. It is a primal, overwhelming display of power designed to completely dominate the situation, silence all opposition, and terrify their opponent into submission. The goal is not resolution. The goal is to win unequivocally and devastatingly. During this roar, a Leo can become incredibly cruel. They will draw upon their deep understanding of people to target your greatest insecurities, your deepest fears. They will say things with such force and conviction that they shatter your own sense of reality. They can be dramatic, accusatory, and magnify the conflict to epic proportions, making you feel like you haven't just made a mistake, you have committed an act of cosmic treason against them. The most dangerous part of this roar is its aftermath. After the explosion, after they have leveled the emotional landscape, they may calm down and, fueled by their inherent generosity, expect things to go back to normal. They may even offer a grand, sweeping apology, but they often fail to understand the deep, lasting damage their words have caused. They have shown you a capacity for cruelty that you can never unsee. They have shattered the trust and safety in the relationship. You are left trembling, not just from the argument, but from the fear of it ever happening again. You start walking on eggshells, carefully managing your words and actions to avoid triggering that roar. And just like that, you have been controlled. The roar becomes a weapon, a terrifying deterrent that keeps everyone in their kingdom in line. Have you ever been on the receiving end of that roar? That overwhelming display of anger that left you feeling small, shaken, and silenced? Or, dear Leo, do you recognize that volcanic power within you? The power to win any argument, but at the cost of the very peace and trust you claim to protect. Understanding this is crucial, for it often stems from a place we will now explore, a place that is the very soul of this video. Please, my beautiful souls, listen with your whole heart now, because this is the core of it all. This is the linchpin of the Leo shadow. A Leo's greatest strength is their unwavering belief in themselves. It's what allows them to take risks, to create art, to lead nations. But the most dangerous transformation occurs when this self-belief curdles into absolute, unshakable infallibility. The shadow Leo, deep down, cannot and will not ever admit they are wrong. Think about the implications of that. In a world where they are the flawless, benevolent monarch, any problem in the relationship, any conflict, any pain must by definition be your fault. They will not consciously think this. Instead, their mind will perform breathtaking feats of psychological gymnastics to reframe reality itself, to preserve their own blamelessness. They will twist your words, misremember events, and expertly gaslight you until you begin to question your own sanity. They will accuse you of being too sensitive, too dramatic, or misunderstanding their intentions. They are the masters of the non-apology, "I'm sorry you feel that way," or "I'm sorry if my passion was too much for you." Notice the framing. The fault still lies with your reaction, not their action. To apologize, to truly admit fault, feels like an existential threat to the shadow Leo. It would mean the king has a flaw, the sun has a spot. And if their entire identity is built upon the foundation of their own perfection, admitting a crack in that foundation feels like the entire kingdom will crumble. This is what makes them so profoundly destructive in intimate relationships. There can be no real growth, no true partnership, no genuine repair after a conflict, because repair requires two people to meet in the middle, each taking responsibility for their part. With a shadow, Leo, you are always the one who must travel the entire distance to their unmoving throne, admit your fault, and beg for forgiveness for a problem they likely co-created. It is an incredibly lonely and soul-crushing dynamic. Have you ever found yourself constantly apologizing for things you weren't even sure were your fault? Have you felt your own sense of reality begin to warp to fit the narrative of someone who simply could not be wrong? This, my friends, is the loneliest place in the lion's kingdom. And for the Leos listening, I ask you with the deepest compassion, is your throne more important than your connection? Is your crown worth more than your intimacy? The courage to say, "I was wrong," is the mark of a true king, a true queen, not a fragile one. A Leo's generosity is legendary. They love to give gifts, to treat their friends, to shower their loved ones with affection and material splendor. It comes from a genuinely warm and expansive heart. They want their kingdom to be a place of abundance and joy, and they want to be the benevolent source of that joy. The shadow aspect emerges when this generosity becomes consciously or unconsciously a tool for creating loyalty and obligation. It becomes a performance of benevolence. They give lavishly, and in return, they expect unwavering loyalty, endless praise, and for you to be there at their beck and call. The gifts start to feel less like gifts and more like payments. You are being paid for your role as a loyal subject, and if you ever dare to defy them, to disagree with them, or to not be sufficiently grateful, they will be the first to remind you of everything they have done for you. After all I've given you, this is the thanks I get. Suddenly, their generosity is revealed not as a free-flowing expression of love, but as a transaction. You are in their debt, and that debt can be called in at any time. This creates a deeply unsettling power dynamic. You can't fully enjoy their gifts because they come with invisible strings attached. You feel a constant low-level pressure to please them, to perform gratitude, lest you be branded an ungrateful traitor. This is how they keep their court in order. By creating a web of obligation, they ensure their own centrality and power. It's a way of buying loyalty instead of earning it through mutual respect and love. Have you ever received a gift that felt more like a burden, a favor that came with a silent expectation of repayment? This is the subtle currency of the shadow Leo's kingdom. True generosity is given with an open hand and no expectation. The moment a ledger is being kept, it is no longer a gift. It is a tool of control. If you have a Leo in your corner, you have one of the most fiercely loyal and protective allies in the entire zodiac. They will defend you, champion you, and stand by you with unwavering courage. Their loyalty is a fortress, and to be inside its walls is to feel safe and cherished. The danger arises when that fortress becomes a cage. A Leo's loyalty can be deeply possessive. They don't just see you as their friend, partner, or family member. They see you as their friend, their partner. You are a jewel in their crown, a cherished part of their kingdom. And they do not like to share their treasures. This can manifest as intense jealousy. They may be suspicious of your other friends, resentful of the time you spend on hobbies that don't involve them, or feel threatened by your personal ambitions if they seem to pull you out of their orbit. They want to be the sun in your personal sky, the most important and central figure in your life. They may not express this with angry outbursts. Often it's more subtle. They might make passive-aggressive comments or use guilt to make you feel bad for having a life outside of them. "Oh, you're going out with them again. I was hoping we could spend time together." They make you feel like your independence is a betrayal of your loyalty to them. Over time, you might find yourself shrinking your own world to keep the peace in theirs. You stop seeing certain friends, you give up certain activities, you dim your own light so as not to compete with their sun. You have become a beautiful bird trapped in a gilded cage, loved and possessed, but no longer free. Dear Leo, do you recognize this fierce protective instinct? And can you honestly ask yourself if it sometimes crosses the line into possession? True love, true loyalty does not seek to own. It seeks to empower. It celebrates the freedom of the ones it cherishes, knowing that their light only adds to the brilliance of the entire kingdom. A Leo's energy is magnetic, vibrant, and life-affirming. Being around them can feel like basking in the sun. You feel warmer, brighter, and more alive. They have an immense capacity to energize and inspire those around them. The shadow side of this is that they also have an immense need for energy. In their unevolved state, a Leo doesn't just radiate energy, they consume it. They need a constant influx of attention, drama, emotion, and adoration to fuel their inner fire. When they are not getting this fuel, they can become an emotional and energetic black hole. They will pull you into their dramas, demand your emotional labor, and feed on your energy until you are left feeling completely drained, exhausted, and empty. You become their primary energy source. Your conversations are always about them, their problems, their victories, their feelings. They will call you with a crisis, keep you on the phone for hours, absorbing your sympathy and advice, and then hang up feeling energized while you feel like you've just run a marathon. They don't just take the spotlight, they take your very life force. I once had a Leo friend who was brilliant but deeply insecure. Every interaction felt like an energy transfer. I would leave our meetings feeling depleted and hollow, while she would be buzzing with new ideas and vitality. It took me years to realize that I was not her friend. I was her fuel source. The relationship was not reciprocal, it was parasitic. This is one of the most insidious dangers of a shadow Leo. It happens so gradually, you don't even notice it. You just know that you feel tired all the time. You feel your own creativity waning, your own joy dimming. You are orbiting a sun that has begun to collapse into a black hole, pulling all light and life into its center. Are you feeling perpetually exhausted by someone in your life? Do you feel like your own inner light is getting dimmer and dimmer? You may be in the gravitational pull of a Leo who has forgotten how to generate their own light. But when you finally try to pull away to save yourself, you will face the final and most dramatic act. A Leo does not do quiet, subtle endings. There is no gentle fading away, no ghosting. When a Leo decides you are no longer worthy of being in their kingdom, whether because you have betrayed them, failed to adore them, or simply tried to claim your own sovereignty, the ending is a grand, dramatic, and final act of judgment. They do not just break up with you, they exile you. This is a formal and often public declaration that you are banished from their world. They will announce the end of your friendship or relationship to their court, often with a narrative that paints them as the magnanimous but wronged monarch and you as the treacherous villain. They will cut you off, completely block you on all platforms, and instruct their loyal subjects to do the same. The exile is so devastating because it's not just the loss of one person. It's the loss of an entire world they built around you. You are cast out into the cold, stripped of your status, your community, and your shared history. It is a public shaming, a final assertion of their power and your powerlessness. They are the king, and they have passed sentence. There is no appeal. To me, this is the ultimate act of a wounded ego. It's the need to have the final word, to control the narrative of the ending, to ensure that they are seen as the one who rejected, not the one who was rejected. It lacks the grace and compassion of a mature soul. It is the act of a child king knocking over the chessboard because he is about to lose. Have you ever been exiled? Have you experienced that sudden, shocking, and total banishment from someone's life, leaving you reeling and confused? Or, dear Leo, have you ever felt that powerful urge to make a clean, dramatic break, to cast someone out of your life forever? It may feel powerful in the moment, but true power lies in the ability to end things with grace, with respect, and with a recognition of the love that once was. My dear Taurus friends, we've journeyed through the shadows of the lion's den, and I want you to take a deep, cleansing breath. This exploration was not to condemn, but to bring to light the incredible responsibility that comes with the incredible power of Leo energy. The truth is, a Leo's potential for destruction is directly proportional to their potential for magnificent world-changing love and leadership. The same pride that can become a wildfire is the pride that can inspire a nation. The same charisma that can create a cult is the charisma that can lead a revolution of kindness. The journey for every Leo, and for those who love them, is to help them evolve from a monarch who rules by fear and control to a true king or queen who rules with an open, courageous, and self-aware heart. A true monarch is not afraid to be wrong. They are not dependent on the applause of others, for their self-worth is a sun that shines from within. Their generosity is unconditional, their loyalty is empowering, and their power is used to lift others up, not hold them down. So now, I would love to hear from you. What part of this journey resonated most deeply within your soul? What truth was illuminated for you today? In the comments below, I invite you to share your deepest insight. And if you are a Leo who is on this path of conscious evolution, or if you love a Leo and are learning to navigate their fire with compassion, simply write, "I am honoring the heart of the lion." Let's fill this space with stories of growth, understanding, and the courage to face our own shadows. And of course, my beautiful friends, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Cosmic Wisdom. We have so much more to explore together, so much more of your soul to unlock. Tap or click on one of the videos you see on your screen now to continue your journey into the cosmos and into yourself. Thank you for walking this path with me today. Thank you for your courage and your open heart. Remember, whether you are the sun or you are orbiting one, your light is precious, powerful, and uniquely your own. Believe in it, nurture it, and know that you are supported every single step of the way. I wish you an abundance of love, joy, and unwavering courage.